Multitasking in modern computer is the normal thing, so as Android developers we have to consider how our applications are designed to accommodate this. The Android OS manages the activity lifecycle process by creating, resuming, stopping, and destroying the activities process in different scenarios. So the Activity API offers several callback methods that helps to manage different user behavior. So we can declare how the activity should behave when the user enters, leaves, and re-enter the activity. For example, when we are building a video player app, we want to pause a video when a user navigates off the screen and allow a user to resume the video on the same spot when the user re-enters the activity. This is not helpful for only user experience, but also helps to utilize efficiently limited device resources like battery and memory. So doing the right thing at the right time is important to write robust app and avoid with errors and crashes. So in this video we are going to explore activity lifecycle in details. Now let's start with the lifecycle paradigm. So this is the activity lifecycle. So at a glance it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but it's not. As you can see here, we're going to start from when the activity is going to be launched. So it is going to be initialized, then we create on start, on resume, and here basically the activity is running. Now after here the activity is going to the foreground, on pause, on stop, and then it's going to be destroyed. So I have prepared here a similar one but little bit simplified. As you can see here, we are going to start from the initialized state, then we going to the created state, and after that is where we are going to the started state, then the activity goes to the resumed state. Now after this, then now it can drop until when it's going to be destroyed. Now let's see this inside Android Studio, how these methods can be used. Now when we open up Android Studio and create a new project, basically we get our first code here, and this one is just the main activity and which inherits to the component activity. And basically here this class is going to override this method here, and this method here is called the onCreate, which is just the lifecycle method, and this is the must method to implement. So there are several methods. Basically there are 6 methods of lifecycle, so which we can implement. Some and other we can leave them, but this onCreate here is a must and will be triggered when the system creates the activity for the first time. So in here we can initialize variables and make necessary startup configurations of the app. So the activity receives here the saved instant state, which is a type of bundle, and this type can be nullable here. So when you see this question mark here in Kotlin, this means that this can be null or not, and this one is going to receive the previous state saved of the activity. So when we open up the activity for the first time, then we do some things here and then we save this inside the saved instant state. So when we are going to, for example, reinitialize this activity, so we are going to receive this saved instant state and we can try to use it, but this is out of scope of this video here. And basically here now we have to call this super.onCreate here, otherwise the activity will not work. And here the method does not reside here, so the state does not reside here. It basically moves quickly to the another method, and the second method is the onStart method. So you can basically override here the onStart method by writing just onStart here. Then it's going to show you some override here. As you can see here, it's writing override fun on start, and this one is just for the activity. Now we can press a tab here, then it's going to override this method here. And if you want to see all methods which you can override, you can just press Ctrl O, and here basically there are so many methods which you can just override here inside the android.app.activity class, and there are so many other things which you can easily override here. Now for our case here today is just focusing on the lifecycle methods. Now here on start is going to get when the app is going to be started, and this one is invoked, and here the activity is made visible to the user as the activity prepares to enter to the foreground and become interactive. So here is where the app initializes the UI code as well, and here the activity does not reside. When it completes, it quickly jumps to the next method. So it's going to just stay here for the shortest amount of time, then it's going to jump to another method. Now for now here we can just try, for example, inside the onCreate method here. So after this super method here, we can create a log, and this log basically is going to show us the, like we are going to use a println function which is going to be shown up inside the log cut so that we can see the the output which you're going to get. And basically this wants to pass two things. Here it's going to be a tag which is going to differentiate these tags, and here it's just passing the message. So we can just come up here and create a private variable, and we can call this tag. And basically here we can pass in a normal string, so we can call this main activity. So here we have our tag, and then here we can call this onCreate is called. And after that, here we can come inside the override, and as you can see here, we have not overridden because this one is going to be shown in a gray format. So what we have to do here, we have to pass something else so that we can pass in custom implementations. So we can do here log I, then we get this one is called a string. It's called the templates, which you can get by Android Studio. So here on start, we can pass in here also this onStart is called. So now when our app finishes to execute the onStart here, it goes to the another state which we can override here, which is called onResume. And here basically we're going to enter the resumed state, and here the app now is fully visible to the user and can interact with the application. So say for example you have opened up YouTube, then here now you can just easily scroll through, or you can just tap to a video, then you can watch it. So here is the state, and here we can write another log statement here, for example. So we can write log I here, then here we can call onResume is called. So basically the app stays in this state until when he navigates or he's going to another application or an interactive event occur. So for example, if a phone call is going to occur here, so now it's going to move to another state. So for now, let's try and run our application and see the log statement which we are going to get. Okay, now our app is launched here, and we can see here the log cut, and we have a lot of things here. Now we can just come here and type here, for example, main activity, so that we can filter other things which we don't want. So basically here we have, as you can see here, we are going to call the onCreate method. So we get here the onCreate, then we get the onStart, and after that the state is going to come here to the onResume state. So as we have stated earlier, that the state is going to reside here on resume until something happens. So for example, if we come here to our application, then we click this button here, so our activity is going to go to another state. So what state does it go? It basically goes to the on pause state, and we can just come here and override this method here. Okay, now here we can override our on pause method. So we can just write here on pause, and basically here we are going to now get inside the onPause method. So this method here is going to be called as the first indication that the user is leaving your activity, though it does not always mean that the activity is going to be destroyed. So it indicates that the activity is no longer in the foreground. So it might be also visible if a user is in a multi-window state. So for example, is opening two windows in the same, two apps in the same window. So here we can just try, for example, to write another log statement here, and here we are going to come to the onPause state, then the onPause state is called. So there are several reasons why an activity may enter this state. Now, for example, some events interrupts app execution. So as we have described inside the onResume section, this is the most common case that something happens, for example, a phone call, so it's going to go to the onPause state. Another way, inside the Android 7 API level 24 or higher, multiple apps runs in multiple windows mode. And because only one of the app has focus at a time, the system pauses all of the other apps. So basically, if our app is not inside the focus, so we are going to execute this method here. And we can try to free up some memory if we have inside our app we are using. So for example, if we are calling a network call or we are watching a video, so we can try to pause a video here, so because our user is not going to focus here. Now for this case here, when the onPause here, we can just basically move from the onPause state and come back to the onResume state, and then we can restart our activity, or the user is going to completely ignore our application, then it's going to be destroyed. And for this case here, now we can call the onStop, and here let's just overwrite here the method. So basically here now we are in the onStop method, and the onStop method is called when the activity is no longer visible to the user, and this indicates that the app is going to be terminated. So this may occur because, for example, when newly launched, the activity covers the entire screen. So for example, if we have another activity or another app is going to be launched, so our app is no longer visible to the user, so our the Android system is going to call this method onStop to our activity. Or when the activity finishes to run, so for example, we have already finished to run this activity and is about to get terminated. So for this case here, the onStop method is going to be called. So here we have to release the resources which we have acquired. So for example, if we are using a GPS, or we are using a certain memory and other resources which we have, so we should release inside here the onStop, but not inside here on pause, because here on pause sometimes it's going to be the screen is going to be visible to the user for the multi-window mode state. So for example here, so what we have to do, we have to release the resource inside here the onStop method. Now let's try to run our application and see the methods what we get again. Okay, now our app is launched again, and as you can see here, we have the similar method like what we called before. So we have the onCreate, onStart, and onResume. Now let's try to press this button here and see what's happened. And now you can see that we have onPause and the onStop, which are going to be called. So now our app is not basically visible, and when we click this now here again, we are just back to the focus, and now the onResume is going to be called and it's going to stay on this state here. Now when we try to enter in a multi-window state, so for example here, when we press this button here and we enter to another state here, as you can see here, now we have the onResume, then we have called the onPaused method here, and for now we are on this paused state, so we can just try to re-enter the activity, or we can just quit directly here. So for example, if we re-enter again, you can see the onResume here is going to come back. Now when we come back to this app here and we are going to try, as you can see again, the onResume is going to be called, and when we come back here, the onResume is called also again. And now here, what if we want to destroy the activity? So as you can see here, we are still fully visible inside here. Now what if this activity has finished to get execution and now the activity wants to be destroyed? So we can override another method here. So this is called the onDestroy. So this method here, we can just write here our log tag. So onDestroy is called before the activity is destroyed. So the system invoke this callback either because, for example, if the activity is finishing, so if it has finished to execute its code or other things, so it's going to finish up. Also, the system is temporarily destroying the activity due to a configuration change. So for example, if we are going to rotate a device and other thing, or we are going to the multi-window mode, or we are going to leave our app completely, or we are going to get this resources, so the app is going to execute this and kill the application. And now let's try to rerun again our application and see. Okay, now as usual, as you can see here, the three methods are going to be called when we launch our application for the first time. So we start from the onCreate, onStart, and the state is going to go to the onResume state and it resides here. Now also, if we try to press here now and go to the multi-window state, for example, we are just going to go to call the onDestroy, and again the onCreate, onStart, and onResume and onPause are going to be recalled again, because we are just going to give focus to this to do application here. Now if we click again here, now we are just going to call the onResume state, and basically now if we finish up everything and we want now to go off the application, also the onDestroy is going to be called. Now we can just jump in to the paradigm which we saw first earlier, so that we can familiarize ourselves and see that the diagram is not that complicated. So now, as we have seen earlier there, our application is going to get launched at first, and then we call this method onCreate, onStart, and then our state is going to come here to the onResume state, and here our activity now is running and we can interact with our application, like for example drawing and do other things. And otherwise that another activity comes into the foreground, so what we do here we call the onPause state, and when the user is going to return here, we are just going back to the onResume state. And for example, if another things, for example apps with higher priority needs memory, so we are just going to kill this app, and then the app is going, again if we want to reopen the app, we are just going to perform the onCreate function here, and we just go again with the same process here. Now if we come here to the onPause, then we don't go from the left or to the right here. What we are going to do, so the activity is no longer visible and the user has just quitted our application for the long time, so now the system is going to call the onStop method here. So the activity is finishing or it's going to be destroyed, and then it's going just directly to be destroyed. Otherwise it's just going to, for example, if the activity is not going to be destroyed, then it's going to go to the same route, then the app is going to be killed, and if we want to reopen again, we have to call the onCreate. And otherwise if we go to the right direction here, so user navigates to the activity, and here we are going to call another method which is called onRestart, and here basically we want to restart from where we left, and basically again we go to the restart, and we are not going here to call the onCreate method, and after that we go to the onResume, and as usual we just follow the sequence here. Now after that, if the onStop is going to finish, so we are going to the onDestroy method, and for this case here there is no way around just going back here, so here we just going to die and our application is going to get killed. And after that, here now the activity is going to shut down, and for that case we are just finished with the application. If we want to restart again our function, we have to go here to the onCreate, and our activity is going to be recreated again, and we follow the same sequence as usual. So guys, I know this was not much fun, so if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to provide a like and subscribe for more videos. So in the next videos, we are going to create an interactive application where we are going to receive the user input, and then we are going to provide the user output. So see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.